Special school board meeting to order. It's Monday, September 23rd, 2024, 3:30 p.m., ISD 701. Daylight savings time. I think I've got everything covered so far, and welcome again. And with that, we'll move to item 2, the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you wish.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With that, we move to item 3, a motion to approve the agenda. Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Egan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. With that, we'll move to item 4, which I'll turn over to Superintendent Rick.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Item A is a motion to approve the hiring of James Please Jr. as the Activities Director effective September 24th, 2024.
Support.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director McLaughlin. Any discussion?
Yes. So, I know that I got calls and messages from other staff member. I know I had a conversation with Mr. Aldrich already. And then on Friday, I came in and I reviewed all the application, or all the resumes of all the applicants. Also looked at all of the notes that all of the people who were in the interview, who did the interview, those documents also. And I just think it's important that we talk about this, which is why I requested the special meeting, so I'm glad that we're able to have it. I'm glad that you're here, James, too, so you can hear this firsthand. The first thing that, one of the questions that I have is, there were 15 applicants, I believe. And out of those 15, when I looked at them, there were 8 that had AD experience. And we did interviews for 5 out of the 15. And James was the only in-house current staff member that we interviewed. He was also the only one who did not have AD experience. And experience is not everything. But I think that raised red flags to people of why did we, out of the 15, only have him be the one that didn't have the AD experience ahead of these people, the 4 other people that had AD experience. So that was my first question. So I don't know if you want me to list all my questions first before we talk about them, or if we just go through them one by one.
Well, that one, I mean, you've got the same information that I do from the recommendation committee, so I can't answer that question for you.
Okay.
I don't know why.
So
Yep.
Anyway, that is a red flag. That was a question that was asked, is how did we make that determination? And the other thing is, why didn't we do an internal posting first? Because if that was just James, then great. Then that was just internal. We wouldn't have had to ask and bring in all these other people for their interviews. So why didn't we just do an internal posting? You should be able to tell me that.
Our postings aren't internal, external. When they happen during the school year, during the school year with Hugh, they're all internal, external.
So there's not a difference as far as if they're an internal or out or public for the length of time that it has to be posted.
See, there's different bargaining groups, as an example. So the bargaining group that we were hiring for is the administrative non-aligned group, which has a different set of rules, different set of expectations as a Hugh position, like a teaching position. Right? The qualifications for an athletic director position are much broader. You don't have to have a particular licensure. You don't. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
You don't have to have any experience either.
yeah,
There's
there's no qualifications
set
or
guidelines,
experience
so that's an
necessary.
answer to one of your questions. It's not required, but go ahead.
But the postings, for example, depending on if they're internal or external, that really has to do with the time of year. To give people notice, all of our postings for this particular position would go internal, external for a week. And then we'd see what we have, and if we don't have any qualified applicants, then we'd pull back and repost or do whatever we had to do. But we had a ton again, so we moved forward.
So one isn't 1 week and the other isn't 2 weeks, it's just depending on the time of year of the posting?
Well, if it happens in the summer, we have to do a full week internal because people don't, the idea is that people aren't paying attention to that type of stuff, so we give them more time to look. But when they're in-house or in the school year, everybody should be checking their email every day, so yes. And the turnaround on a lot of these positions is quick, right? I mean, we were looking to put somebody in place before Mr. Turner had left, so it was a very quick turnaround.
Okay. And the other thing is, so I know the other concern was, so there's nothing wrong with having a plan. And I actually recall a conversation that James and I had at volleyball when I was working the concession stand, and I had this was shortly after Mr. Turner had put in his letter, and I had asked James, like, who are we gonna find? You know, in my mind, I'm thinking school has started. It'll be a tough position to fill. This is gonna be hard. James and I got to talking, and he, kind of expressed that interest, and I thought that was fantastic because I know what he's done for our community. I know what he's done in the district with his coaching, that was exciting. And then of course it was, well, I also know that he's a teacher, so then it would have to be filling his role and kind of figuring out, well, what would that look like? And he talked about Matt Anderson. Well, Matt Anderson was on the interview committee, and again, there's nothing wrong with the conversation that James and I had, and that, this was
Sure.
where his mind was going in a plan. There was nothing wrong with that at all. But like I mentioned to you, if Matt Anderson was on this interview committee, I don't believe that he should be an option to fill James's role, because I feel like that would be a conflict of interest.
And I respectfully have to disagree with you that we would not be an equal opportunity employer if we set the stage that he can't be an applicant.
Well,
So
I'm
I don't
not
wanna-
saying that
I
he
don't wanna
can't be
do
an
that.
applicant.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is I feel like it should be known that he was on that committee, and for him to vote then for James to get this role, he had incentive to do so. So sure, he can apply. I'm not saying that he can't apply, but I think we would have to really think about, should he be the one to fill that role, because he gained from James getting this position, and he voted for James to get this position based off of what I saw in the interview file.
We have a couple
Yes.
questions, maybe,
Yeah.
did you want to add something?
Well, I was going back to the internal
Posting?
posting. I believe that also has to do with bargaining groups, which I think Mr. Aldrich answered, but it has to go, if it's an internal posting, it goes to that bargaining group. And the teaching contract is not part of that bargaining group. And so those people were all asked if they were interested in taking that position, because they have first rights to it because of that bargaining group. And they did not want to apply.
Yeah, that's the requirement in that contract, is that we
Yeah.
notify the members of the unit, and we ask them if they're interested in applying. And so we have Tyler, we have Alex, we have Joel Anderson, we have Amy Matt, am I missing anybody? And Trina. No one had a background in athletics, no one had interest in being an athletic director. So that's another reason why that posting went immediately external, for that reason.
Can I just add, like, I'm excited to work with James. I think he's going to do an outstanding job, and I think he'll continue to advance the department. And I think he's got a great staff to support that. But I too received feedback from community members, so is that, to me, that's the thing is, I understand that we were left with kind of a short notice, and I understand that we're an important, at the time of the year we're in, it's important to get that position filled. Is there any way, like in the next round of negotiations, can we work with the bargaining units? Like in my mind, when I think of internal post, I think of internal to all existing employees in the district, not just, you can't negotiate that with them?
No.
Oh.
No, it's, for instance, if you, let's say if you are a PSA and you'd like to apply for a coaching position, you have to apply as an external applicant because that's a huge bargaining position, coaching. So they would get first dibs and then, yes.
Because I only say that because I think, again, I got some calls, and I think it's just the perception, because I'm like, we're learning some of this now, and the community doesn't know that. So
Right.
I think, I think we've all been on the other side, and when people apply for jobs, it's emotional, and it's expensive, and you take time off, and all of that. So again, if we've got strong internal candidates, just kind of maybe be more deliberate if we can.
I'm bringing a lot off track here, I think. We're trying to get James hired, and we're talking about policies and labor negotiations, and we win contracts and stuff like that. I think we need to stay focused on.
You want to call for a vote?
Sure.
But this was the thing, the reason why is because there are questions about the integrity of the interview process and the hiring process for this position, not on James Pleas on if he is fit for this role, but if the integrity of the interview process is questionable, I feel like it's a disservice to even James. And it's almost like, I hate to use the word, but like guilt by association almost. And I don't like that because I do believe that James
Okay,
is a strong candidate for it.
he called for a vote, so now we have to bring it to a vote.
So we're not gonna talk about the policy. But why would
We
we
gotta
talk
vote on
about it?
this first, because we called for a vote. Now we can do roll call, I suppose. Director Martin?
Support.
Martin, support?
That what you say? Yeah, yes.
That's, go ahead.
Yes.
All those, yeah.
Sarah?
No, because I wanna talk about the policy.
Yes.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Motion passes. Welcome aboard. We'll go to item B, motion to approve the request of a 3-year leave of absence by James James Pleas Jr., effective September 24th, 2024, from his 1.0 full-time position at the Lincolnville School. A leave of absence will be pursuant to Minnesota Statute 122A.46.
I'll move.
Chair will support. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Without objection,
Well, I do have something
Meeting
else
adjourned.
I wanna talk about. So
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's been moved and seconded.
so you just don't wanna have conversation is what you're saying?
Director Egan, how do you vote?
To adjourn or adoption?
To adjourn.
Yes.
Adjourn.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, when we have a special meeting, I don't know if we
We can't
can
have-
talk about anything else that's not on the agenda. Is that right, Jim?
Right, that's the agenda. Otherwise, the public would, it's like you're fooling the public, which we're not. And for general information, all the time we have different hires or whatever, then we always see them issues about policy and stuff, so we can address that at another meeting, but I thought that was all taken care of. We have so many people. And
Well,
then,
then can we put it on the next one? Because I do wanna make changes to this or suggest changes to it.
and what is that for?
This is our personal hiring procedures.
Oh, okay. Well, makes it good. Work with the superintendent, and then he can pass it around, see if there are any other comments on it. We can go that way, and then put it on the next agenda. Or if you wanted to,
You just don't want to have that
I know we're-
conversation and it's
we-
frustrating.
I know we're adjourned, maybe this isn't the place or time to talk about it, but we hire people to do their job. We've talked about this for years, all the way back to when Matt Anderson first applied for his football position as a head coach. And it was turned down because we didn't have the proper interviews done at the time and did not see him. So, we have a group, gets together, they interview. The only question I have and the only concern I have is we have too many people involved in the interview. And I understand the position with the ED, you have to have coaches and people that work with them.
okay.
Because, I mean, people knew who he was before I knew who got it, because I saw it on Facebook
Okay, meeting's adjourned, we'll address that,
at that time. Thank you.
you're welcome. I'd like to thank everybody for being here. Have a good day.